Hello and welcome to this episode of Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. and I'm here with this very special guest, Paige Rutledge. Paige, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's the evening time, just
Yeah.
starting to settle down, so I'm doing a little bit better than running around all day. I'm sure you were running around all day too.
Oh,
We were
always.
talking about where are you calling from?
I'm in a little, well, not really a little town, but I'm in a town called Oakville, just outside of Toronto.
Okay, so you are a Canadian born?
Canadian girl. Yep, Canadian girl through and through.
Okay, tell me, what's the weather like over there right now?
Oh, it's starting to get a little cold. It's actually funny. I have a cottage up in Northern Ontario and it's been snowing. So the winter has started to come quick. And my uncle and my grandma are living up at our cottage right now. And he sent a video. I guess it was on November 1st. It was November 1st. And he sent a video and there was so much snow coming across the lake. So here where I am, it's not snowing just yet. It's actually been kind of nice. It's been like the sunny, perfect, like 10 degrees kind of thing going on, but you know it's coming soon. It's coming.
Well, I'm here in Florida, and so we
Oh,
did have a cool spell where I
yes.
guess we got down to about maybe 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which really isn't that cold. And we started warming up again, and I just can't wait for the next cold front. It's just it's nice in February when it's warm down here, but as we get closer to the Christmas season, I definitely like to have a little bit colder and maybe see
Absolutely.
some snow, but the odds of that are slim.
Right? I'm with you on that. As soon as it gets towards, I actually don't hate the snow. It does get a little old after a while, and the cold gets a little when you wake up every day and it's like in the negatives. You're like, okay, let's get the ball rolling and make it warm again. But I agree. Around Christmas time, it's the most beautiful time when it is snowing outside and you get, like some of my memories as a kid. Not so much recently. It hasn't done it in the past couple of years, but getting up on Christmas morning and like running downstairs and there's a snowfall outside and
Oh
that's
wow,
kind of cool.
that's
Yeah.
nice. So see,
Right.
I lived up in the Philadelphia area for quite some
Okay.
while, and we did get a lot of snow, but I never got a white Christmas. And I moved back to South Texas, where I was originally born and raised, and that was the first time, all the way down by the Mexican border, that I had a white Christmas all the way down there. So go figure. But
Out of all the places,
out of
Texas.
all the places, yeah, they said that was the miracle of I believe that was 2005. Um,
Crazy.
so speaking about Christmas, when do you start getting ready for Christmas?
Oh man, we're ready in my house now.
Oh, really?
Because we've already had our Thanksgiving, right? So we're not even waiting for Thanksgiving. We my dad put up all the Christmas lights on like this past weekend because it was a really nice sunny weekend. And I think that's why people start getting in the Christmas spirit honestly a little bit earlier here because they're like, it's gonna get cold and no one
Oh,
wants to put their Christmas lights up when it's freezing outside. So we have our Christmas lights up. We have our tree up, but it's not decorated just yet. We were waiting until, well, I guess now we wait until Remembrance Day and then we begin to start kind of decorating everything and really get into the Christmas spirit after that.
okay. And are there any Christmas carols that you like to sing or listen to?
All of the, I'm a huge, Christmas is by far my favorite holiday. Like there is no question. I wake up on, I don't love Halloween and anyone that knows me knows I'm like, ugh, Halloween. So I like wake up November 1st and I'm like, oh, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. We are ready to go. And then, Starbucks brings out their Christmas coffee and you're like just totally in the mood. And I'm fortunate enough that I play a lot of Christmas farms around where I live and in around Ontario. And so I love my personal, I don't even know if I have a personal favorite Christmas song, but I love them all. I just think they're so fun to sing. And there's something so special about, when you're, especially with younger kids, when you're singing Christmas songs at Christmas events or Christmas farms, and all the little kids are singing back to you. You're like, this is so, just so magical and so special and really brings that Christmas feeling.
Yeah, something different definitely happens around the Christmas time, and
Absolutely.
what a great way that you get to lead the singing for that, and that's really special. Um, so, how did you make the transition all the way from Canada to become a Nashville artist? How did that come about?
So I love country music ever since I was a kid. It was actually my grandpa that introduced me to country music. And I'm a huge Shania Twain fan as a Canadian girl, but we all love Shania Twain. And that's one of the first artists that I remember listening to when I was little, along with Dolly Parton. And my grandpa loved Johnny Cash and Charlie Pride. So that was like kind of what all happened and what I was listening to when I was growing up. And I've only been to Nashville like to write and hoping to make the permanent move soon. But there's actually a really awesome Canadian country community scene too that, it's like similar to Nashville in a way, but it's also like so unique to itself too. So I feel like I have a little bit of the best of both worlds kind of going on right now. But really, I've just loved country since I was so young and started singing when I was so young. And like I said, my grandpa's the one that introduced it to me. I remember going to my first Shania Twain concert when I was 4 or 5 with my mom and saying, I'm going to do this. And my mom was like, okay, you're 4. So like,
And
relax.
what does she say now?
They're like, oh, you're doing it. I did I did a Mother's Day interview with my mom in May this past year, which was kind of cool because it was a lot of that, like a lot of reflecting. And I have a very, very supportive parents. And they're just excited to be along for the ride. They come out to all the shows that they get to come to or that they can come to travel wise. And so my mom actually, when I was in Nashville this past September on a writing trip, my mom came down for a few days and
Okay.
she's so cute. She walks around, she's like, you're a singer. You're doing this. You're doing this. I'm like, Mom, so is everybody else. That's here.
This is my baby right here,
Yeah,
right?
she was definitely playing the supportive mom role. She's great.
That's awesome. So what was the first song that you came out with?
My first song, oh my gosh, it's actually kind of embarrassing, but it's only on YouTube, thank God. The first song I have two like kind of first songs. The first song I ever wrote was when I was 10, and it's called Just Let It Rain. And it's so just it's it's one of those where you look back and you're like, thank God I was 10. Like, I don't even the lyrics are cute. Like, I listen back, I'm like, this is the perfect song for a 10-year-old. But I remember the first time I ever performed it, I had like a choreographed routine to go along with it. So I practiced singing my song and choreographing my dance moves to go with it. Cause I don't know what I thought I was doing at 10, but I thought I was like clearly a little mini pop star at that time. But the first song I ever put out was when I was 16, and it was called Someday. It's not available online. It's probably still on YouTube somewhere. I don't have it up on streaming services anymore, just because there's been so much growth and so much change in the past couple of years that I've been releasing the music that I would say now is Paige Rutledge. But that was the first single I got to release like officially to streaming services when I was 16.
Okay, then so you said you've matured a lot since that time. Your brand has started to grow. Your
Yeah.
style has started to grow, and now here we are with your latest Sunshine Sunday, correct?
Yeah, so fun. I know it's a little bit of a tongue twister. I do that all the time. I'm like, sunshine.
Well, I can mess up, but hopefully you're not messing it up when
No,
you're singing it.
thank
So,
goodness, not yet.
so tell me a little bit about that song, how it came about, and
Yeah. So I wrote it in April, and what's kind of cool, and you know, I'm a really, really optimistic person, and I always try to draw like positives from anything that, this pandemic is obviously an incredibly negative experience. But I was like, we have to find some ways to find some positives. So something that I've really taken over or like taken into my career, I guess, over this past year and a bit is that Zoom writing is actually kind of cool because you get to write with people anywhere. Like, you don't have to be in the same place to write a song now. And that's kind of cool. And so Sunshine Sunday was actually written with two of my friends, Rich Cloak, who is also from Ontario, but then we wrote with an artist named Mariah Stokes, and she lives out in Alberta. So, which is so cool because there's no really I can't just like hop on a plane to Alberta for a couple hours to write a song. So the three of us were on Zoom in April, and it was a really rainy day. I'll like sitting in this exact spot, but I was looking out my window and I'm like, this weather sucks. It was cold, it was rainy, and the three of us are chatting, and we didn't really actually honestly have too much to write about that day. We were kind of just talking about life, and we're like, this really, really sucks. And at that time, Ontario was in a stay-at-home order, so like we weren't even really allowed to leave our house. So we're like, isn't it going to be so nice when you can just hang out with your friends again? And then that kind of got our brains going a little bit. And Mariah had this really cool lyric in her phone that like was talking about hanging out in the backyard with your friends. And we're like, okay, let's roll with that a little bit. And then I started talking about my cottage and just how excited I am for summer and to see all my favorite people are at my cottage. And so we took a mix of stories about me spending so much time at my cottage and just like our own personal experiences of sitting in the backyard and, getting drunk essentially with our friends and turned it into Sunshine Sunday. And so the song, I knew like as soon as we left that writing session that night, I was like, there's something special. Like I feel really good about this song. And I sent it right away to my cousin Alex Demaro, who's also my producer, which makes life so wonderful when you get to work together like this. It's the best thing that's ever happened. So I sent it out to Alex, and then he's like, oh my God, we have to demo this right now. So I think we demoed it like that weekend. I went over to his house and we demoed it right away. And then we're like, let's put the song out. So that's how Sunshine Sunday came.
Great. And I know this summer when it came out, I was listening to quite a bit. It was definitely a nice
Thank
summer
you.
song to listen to. And why don't we go play it here on Hank's Corner? Here is Sunshine Sunday.
To a good time. It's a backyard party, so pop that tit, I bet you'll be glad you brought it, 'cause we're falling on a budget. We got clear skies, a little time, forget that 9 to 5. Let's do it upright, small town style. Ain't no whites and beaches, we got redneck margaritas and bare feet in a dollar store. Riding that Friday night feeling all the way through the weekend, like we got nothing to lose. So don't you worry about a hangover Monday, 'cause we're soaking up this Sunshine Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, sun. You can hack a dart or throw a few on the lawn, ain't hard to fit in with the crowd, as long as you like your cash paying loud. Daylight's gonna fade, ain't got no time to waste. Right here, right now, yeah, we got it made. Ain't no whites and beaches, we got redneck margaritas and bare feet in a dollar store pool. Riding that Friday night feeling all the way through the weekend, like we got nothing to lose. So don't you worry about a hangover Monday, 'cause we're soaking up this Sunshine Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, sun. Got clear skies, a little time, what's 9 to 5? Got a good crew, back porch view, and salt on my lime. Ain't no whites and beaches, we got redneck margaritas and bare feet in a dollar store pool. Riding that Friday night feeling all the way through the weekend, like we got nothing to lose. So don't you worry about a hangover Monday, 'cause we're soaking up this Sunshine Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, sun. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, Sunday. Sunshine, sun.
And that was Sunshine Sunday by Paige Rutledge here on Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. And so tell me, you mentioned that the Canadian scene is a little bit different than Nashville, but it's got its own thing. What are some of the differences up there versus Nashville?
I can't speak too much like because I just go to visit Nashville, and I'm sure it's the exact same. And I think some of the similarities too, just between the two, is that they're both such tight-knit communities and everybody knows everybody somehow. I think what's kind of cool about Canada is we have all of these Canadian country artists that we know are so successful in Canada. And then that's like kind of their platform is to be a Canadian country musician. And so that's kind of cool because we have like our own little group of artists. And like I said, it's just such a tight knit community. And from my experience, every single person that I've met, worked with has been so, so nice. Like everyone is so nice and just very supportive of one another. And, I did feel that exact same energy when I was in Nashville. Everybody is so, I mean, maybe it's just my experience so far, but everyone's so nice and everyone is so supportive and wants to help you. And, I think that's cool. I think that's special. Again, I can't speak on like other genres of music, but I know that's something that I'm always excited to talk about because I love the support that you feel here in Canada and our Canadian country music scene.
Sure, I've seen that you've performed with certain people like Jessica Soul
Yes.
and Jessie T and Nicole
Yeah.
Ray,
Love them.
other great female artists, and I know Jessica's just full of energy. You mentioned that.
Yes.
That
Jess and I, we discover this every single time we're together. We are the exact same person and we feed off of each other's energy. So there's like a lot of energy.
so watch out, right?
Yeah. And we both love pink and we love sparkly things. So when we're together, everyone's like, oh my God, they're like a disco ball. We're like, yeah.
So, and you mentioned that it's kind of separate from the Nashville scene. So, who are some other people that you think that we should be on the lookout for that are
Oh.
just great singers up and coming?
Absolutely. There's so many. I love James Barker Band. They are a group from Ontario as well. They're starting to make their way like really largely, I guess, into the Nashville scene, but they're great. Definitely check out James Barker Band. There's so many. I'm trying to like not limit myself to Ontario right now. I'm like thinking outside of the box. Brett Kissel from Alberta is fantastic. There's so many. Jess Moskalook. So many artists.
And who do you like playing with the most, or who would you like to play with if you haven't already played with them?
Oh, that's a good. Can I say Shania Twain? Is that fair?
Yes, you may.
That would be my dream. I think she's just incredibly inspiring, first of all, because she comes from such a small town up in Northern Ontario. And, she's our queen of pop country. And I think that's really cool how you can come just from anywhere and do what she did. And, she's also just my favorite.
She definitely was an inspiration to many artists that were up and coming, especially the female artists that were coming up.
Absolutely.
So, do you write your own songs?
I do. Yes, I do. I love writing. I really, really love writing. I love writing with other people. That's where I feel that I can be like my most creative. I used to, before I got into co-writing, I was doing a lot of like solo writing, just kind of figuring it out. But I feel like I entered this whole new world as soon as I started writing with other people. And there's certain people that I love to write with because I just know going into those sessions, I'm like, they know exactly what I'm trying to say. And it's one of those things where it's like almost unspoken, but we know exactly what's going to happen and it's going to be great. So those are cool experiences.
That's good. And where does your inspiration for the songs come from? Is it your own personal life, or it's just something that you see out there and want to write about? Or tell me how that comes about.
Yeah, I draw a lot from what happens to me. And I'm 23, so a lot of things happen to me because sometimes, wow, life hits you really hard sometimes. But then I literally walk around with my phone and I just kind of like people watch in a not creepy way, but I'm like, I wonder what's happening. Or just, my friends will like be calling me and telling me all of, like their boy drama or what they're going through. And I'm like, let me just take that down because that's kind of a cool song idea.
So then does it start with the lyrics and the words? So that's where you start with first, and then you just find a melody to go along with it?
Yeah. I'm definitely a lyrics first person. Sometimes I think of a song title, but not usually. I'm usually a lyrics, and then I have like the general concept of what I want to say. I've never really been like a melody first person. It's always lyrics. And then that's the exciting part is writing with other people is you take it to them. And I'm like, this is my idea. This is the concept. Like, this is kind of my story behind how these lyrics came to be. And then some people are like, oh yeah. And it's going to go like this. And you're like, yes, that's exactly it. I didn't even know that was it, but that's it.
That's awesome. And so Broken Record is one of your newer songs as well. Tell me a little bit about that.
So Broken Record is actually, fun fact that we were just talking about songwriting. I did not write Broken Record. Broken Record was a pitch. And it's written by 3 Canadian artists, which is cool. It's written by Emily, Karen Kozowski, and Kira Isabella, and it got pitched. They're all killing it in Nashville now, and Emily and Karen Kozowski are just songwriting machines. Kira Isabella is an artist from Ottawa. And so it was cool because I got all these songs sent to me and I was listening through, and Broken Records stood out right away because I was like, wow, this is just like, first of all, it was very relevant to what was going on in my life at the time, but it was also like the energy. I love high energy, and I feel that I always try to, even though it's not my words, I was like, this song needs to be a representation of me. And lots of my songs are high energy because I have a lot of energy, and I just like feed through my music and try to put as much as of myself into the music. So that's why Broken Records stood out to me right away, because I was like, wow, if someone could have taken the words out of my mouth and put them on a piece of paper, this is it. So that's how Broken Record came to be. And then it was my first song to go to Canadian country radio on Sirius XM, which was super cool. And people, message you and they're like, you're on the radio. And you're like, oh my
Yes,
God.
and congratulations on that.
Thank you. So that's been pretty cool.
So let's go ahead and play Broken Record here on Hank's Corner.
That I wouldn't take you back. No way. But then you show up and you're looking like that. We fall in a groove, get stuck, yeah, we just don't loop. And it's feeling like deja vu. Ooh, over and over again. Maybe we're a broken record. Maybe we just up in a fight. Ain't nothing new. Get stuck, yeah, we just can't move. Honey, why do we do what we do over and over again? Baby, we're a broken record. Maybe we just don't go together. Why do we bother putting it on? We get so sick of that same old song. Baby, we're a broken record. We go on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on. We got two sides, both scratched a matter of time till we finally crack. Baby, we're a broken record. Maybe we just don't go together. Oh, baby, we're a broken record. Maybe we just don't go together. Oh, why do we bother putting it on? We get so sick of that same old song. Baby, we're a broken record. We go on and on and on and on. On and on and on. On and on and on. Baby, we're a broken record. Well, I swore that I wouldn't take you back.
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. You're with Paige Rutledge. I'm Hank Jr. So you mentioned you have a lot of energy, and I can see
Yeah.
that when we're talking. Does that energy last on stage?
Oh my gosh, I love being on stage. That's my favorite. When people are like, "What's your favorite part about, pursuing music and doing music?" And mine is performing. I love being on stage. I feel like that if I had to pick like one thing, the writing is so fantastic and I love recording, but I love being in that live setting. And I feed off of the energy of crowds. And I think sometimes I have so much energy that they just don't know what to do with it. And then there's just so much energy in the room, but it's amazing. And I love it. I love performing. I love being in that spotlight. And I don't mean that in like a attention kind of way, but I just love being on stage and having this, I always look at music as a gift. And if you have like the opportunity to share your music, and I think that's cool. And like, so I really, really take that seriously. And I'm like, we're here to put on a show. And I love putting on shows.
So, where are you going to be coming up? Some of your tour plans? Is it strictly in Canada? Do you make it down to the states? And by chance, are you coming down to Florida?
I would love to come to Florida. Right now is strictly in Canada, just for the next or for the rest of 2021 at least. I don't know what 2022 is going to hold just yet, but just with everything going on, it is in Canada for the time being, but I'm around Ontario for the rest of, I guess, November and December. We still have 2 months left, and just so many. Each week, I'm like, oh, things are going to slow down. We're getting to Christmas, and then I book more shows, which is not a bad thing. I'm not complaining about that by far. But I have tons of, some acoustic Christmas stuff coming up, and then I have a headline show in Guelph on November 13th, which is awesome, with Jessica Soul. She's
Oh,
opening.
nice.
It's just so fun. And then my friends in Half Decent, they're an awesome, awesome band. So that's kind of the last, I guess, big show for the year. And then everything else is just a whole bunch of acoustic Christmas stuff, which is also just as exciting.
So, aside from music, what else do you do that interests you? Any hobbies or?
I used to be a figure skater, which I love sharing,
Okay,
and which I think is kind of cool. And I
yeah.
think that's why I love performing so much, because I was, my mom's a figure skating coach and my dad is involved in hockey. So
Okay.
I had no choice. I was learning to skate as soon as that was necessary. So I was like skating when I was 2, and I started competing when I was 6 or 7. So I just loved, I think that's why figure skating meant so much to me. It like translated into music and the whole performing and putting on a show kind of thing. So I love to skate anytime there's an opportunity to skate, which is nice. Going into the winter, we go up to our cottage and get to skate on the lake, which is fun. I guess that's like probably like, aside from music, what else do I do?
So, so if you could visit anywhere in the world, where would you like to visit?
Ooh, oh, that's so tough. I have a lot of different bucket list places. I think right now I've been on this really big kick to go to Paris because I've never got to leave North America. And so I'm like, oh, I want to go to Paris just because the Eiffel Tower looks pretty when it sparkles. It has all the lights. And I'm like, I just think that'd be really cool. But if I had to pick a more like local-ish, and by local I mean North America, I've never been to New York City. And that is
Oh,
on
okay.
my bucket list to go to New York City.
Well, that would definitely be a great place to perform out there. And I enjoy going to New York City, mostly for when Broadway was opened up to
Yes.
see the different plays. And ever since COVID hit, I haven't been back that way to do that. But I definitely look forward to doing that. For Christmas, do you guys make any special type of food? Is there a special dish that you just love to have?
So we actually do Chinese food on Christmas Eve. And so I guess it's like kind of interesting why we do it. So my grandpa, the one that I was talking about earlier, who introduced me to country music. So the reason so that I started, well, not the reason that I started performing, but I really got into singing when he passed away. It's actually kind of sad, I guess, how it happened, but everything happens for a reason. And, you learn and you grow and you take those experiences and turn them into
Sure,
positive experiences. But so he died right before Christmas. He died on December 21st, like
hmm,
when I was 9. So just like the worst timing. Not that there's ever a good time, but the worst timing right before
sure.
Christmas. And so we started having Chinese food on Christmas Eve, and because he loves Chinese food. So that's kind of like our fun little Christmas tradition, is to do that. And I look forward to that just because yum, Chinese food. And it's like kind of unique to our family. It's our own little Christmas tradition.
That's awesome. Any tidbits of information that you can kind of give us of what's coming up next with your music?
Yes, I'm really, really excited. Obviously, we've already planned out 2022 because there's no stopping. So there's going to be a whole bunch of new music, and hopefully the first thing, or not hopefully, the first single will be available in the early winter of 2022. So coming out early in 2022 with a new single, and then just a whole bunch of new music, and then we'll just kind of see where the year takes us. But I'm excited. Lots and some of my favorite songs too. I mean, I'd say they should be my new favorite songs as we write them. But I'm really, really excited with what we have lined up for 2022. Just a whole bunch of new music.
That's awesome. Well, we're definitely excited about seeing what you put out, and everybody should follow you on social
Yes.
media. What's your website?
Everything is at Paige Rutledge.
Okay. And so thank you for coming on. I definitely appreciate it. And you're more than welcome to be a guest anytime. And if you ever make it out to Florida, I'll definitely come and see you. But
I love it.
maybe when it warms up, I'll make my way up to Canada.
Yes, I was gonna say, come here. We have awesome festivals in the summertime too, and it's not cold. It actually gets too hot sometimes. It's like too hot.
Well, I'll definitely look forward to that. So I appreciate you coming on, and
Thank
enjoy
you.
your evening.
Thank you so much for having me.